So the Illinois State Senate is off this week, but the Illinois House, they're back in session. So they've got a whole bunch they got to do before April 8th. And we'll obviously be keeping you updated on all of that and more. So stay tuned right here on WMAY. But to talk a bit about some of the things that are going on at the Illinois State House and beyond, State Representative Tim Butler joins us here in studio on the WMAY morning news feed. Representative, thanks for taking time. How are you?
Bishop, good morning. Happy Monday. Happy Maskless Monday. And
Happy Maskless Monday.
I don't think the Illinois Senate's ever in session. I don't pay attention to them. So,
It's one of those things where I was looking at the calendar and I'm thinking it's just going to be, the pedal to the metal all the way to April 8th. And then I saw the Senate was off.
Senate's out, yeah.
All right.
There's been a couple of these weeks where we're in, they're out, vice versa. But I think the House is in session from now until April 8th.
Yes,
right?
you guys are, and including some Fridays. And then you're also in during the Lincoln Presidential Half Marathon, which
that is that weekend. And I actually have some. I don't know if you know my background, and I hate to get off top, but sure. I designed that course. I was the race director of the half marathon for a long time, very involved with the Roadrunners Club, and I actually have talked to a couple House members who are thinking about running it. So, that would be kind of fun to see him run the half marathon.
And then go into the chamber while they're spaghetti legs and stuff.
Exactly.
All right, well, let's get into it. Friday, of course, you guys were in session, but after session was just a gavel in, gavel out type of day.
Yeah.
You guys went down to the Blue Room, you and State Representative Tony McCombie and Deanne Mazzocchi, to talk about this pretty explosive Better Government Association report about the governor's blind trust and some investments. For people out there who don't know what blind trusts are and the governor's relationship with this, give us kind of the overview of what the BGA found.
Yeah, first of all, when an organization like the BGA comes out with a report like this, I mean, it's pretty serious. This isn't just some, partisan group or anything like that. This is a very well-known, nonpartisan group that investigates things like this. And, the governor with his enormous wealth that he has and the investments that he has, was told folks he was going to put his money into a blind trust when he came into the governor's mansion. And what we found out now is that, his what he said in the campaign, or what he said going after he got elected, was going to put this in the blind trust and make sure he doesn't invest in any companies that have business with the state of Illinois. Now what we come to find out through some of the things that have been released through the economic interest statements is the fact that his blind trust actually invested in the largest Medicaid provider in the state of Illinois under Medicaid managed care, Centene, and that's a tremendous conflict of interest in my mind. And I think the governor did not put the guardrails in place for his trust to make sure that stuff like this did not happen. And when his office was questioned about it, they kind of deflected on it. And I thought it was surprising that the governor's official site spokesperson, this is something that happens under the governor's official office. I mean, it's his official job is the reason he has to put this in a blind trust. They deflected it to the campaign, which I find a little bit odd that the campaign would be answering for it. Anyway, I think this is something where we need to continue to take a look at this. This is a huge problem for the state of Illinois. It wraps, like I said in Friday, entirely around ethics reform that we've really talked about for several years now. And the fact that the governor, even though it's a blind trust, and by the way, the blind trust is run by his brother-in-law, so who knows what the conversations are going on, at family gatherings and stuff like that. But we need to make sure, like other states do, that you can invest. I mean, it's the statute that you can invest. So the people running the trust would know that they can't invest in this kind of stuff. And obviously that did not happen in this case.
We're talking with State Representative Tim Butler here on the WMAY morning news feed, getting reaction to the Better Government Association report that came out on Friday. Is Centene the only one that we have concerns here?
There was another company that does business with a railroad company that does business with the state of Illinois that was mentioned in the report as well. So there's two companies, but obviously Centene was the largest. They have over a $2 billion contract with the state of Illinois. And it was reported in the BGA report that the governor's administration intervened on the federal level to ensure that Centene wouldn't violate any antitrust laws with this whole situation. So they were actually advocating for the position of trying to get Centene to give him this contract. Again, I don't, did the governor do anything illegal? Who knows? I don't believe so. And but there shouldn't even be these questions. I think it really shouldn't be a question. And the governor's office might say, oh, he didn't have direct knowledge of this contract or what was going on. the buck stops with the governor's office, and he has people directly under him that report to him and talk to him every day that do have direct oversight of this stuff and do talk to him about these situations. So I think to say that the governor didn't have any direct input on the negotiations on this belies the fact that it's his administration that negotiated this contract with Centene.
We also have the governor doubling the top 15 staffers in his office with his own wealth. And that's got some questions raised as to where these individuals' loyalties lie with the taxpayers that they're working for or with the governor that's doubling up their salaries. What do we do about these things?
Yeah.
I mean, there's legislation you guys filed, but you're in the minority party.
This is something that we've questioned since day one. This company that the governor set up, this LLC that the governor set up to be able to pay his staff, to double his staff salaries out of his own pocket. And I think, we talk a lot about public-private partnerships, and how good they are. This is not a good public-private partnership. If you're an employee of the state, you should be beholden to the people of Illinois for your salary, in my opinion. And if the governor wants to raise the salary of his top staff, then come to the legislature and let's have that conversation. Instead, the governor has you get paid $150,000 on the state side, you get $150,000 or who knows what, because we don't really know what happens in his LLC, and it's you're right. Who are you beholden to? If there's an ethical situation that arrives for one of his top staff, are you going to blow the whistle on the governor, or are you going to jeopardize, the half of your salary that you're making, or are you just going to keep it quiet? I think that's the kind of stuff that we need to get away from in Illinois. I understand why the governor did it. I understand why he did it, but it's certainly something that I don't think we should be doing in the state of Illinois.
We're talking with State Representative Tim Butler. 7:47 now, 32 degrees. I'm Greg Bishop. It is the WMAY morning news feed. Representative, of course, we'll hear more about that situation. I imagine the governor's going to be asked about that. He's in Chicago later on this afternoon, but obviously he's also going to be asked about masks. An interesting kind of about-face Friday. At first it was, masks are still going to be mandated in schools despite hundreds of school districts across the state going mask optional following what happened in the courts and what happened with JCAR. And then the CDC comes out with their revised recommendations. And then the Illinois Supreme Court drops and says that they're not going to hear the governor's appeal, and they kicked it back to the lower court. And then the governor comes out and says, hey, we're going to be masks optional for schools. What in the world happened Friday?
Well, I think, first of all, it speaks to the hypocrisy of this whole situation where, one day you're saying mask, and then the next day you're not. I mean, we've had this.
Well, it wasn't just one day to the next.
Yeah,
it was a matter
1
of
hour,
hours.
1 hour, right? And I think it really, we've seen it play out in the House of Representatives, where our friends on the Democratic side of the aisle post photos of themselves at large gala events in Chicago, largely maskless in the room, yet they virtue signal in the House of Representatives about wearing masks. Look, I mean, me, Bishop. I've been very upfront. COVID is real. I'm vaccinated. I'm boosted. I try to respect people's, what they want to do. But at the end of the day, the public knows best, and the public has far passed the governor on this for quite a long time. When I got Gail O'Neill's report over the weekend, I think we're down to 34 cases or something like that, if I read correctly, on COVID. We're back to levels that we saw last summer, basically. And this is the frustrating part about it, that the governor has done this all on his own without any input. The Democrats that control the legislature have refused to be engaged on this. And if we would have had these conversations all along, we'd be in a much different place than we are today. But obviously the governor has flip-flopped on this tremendously. I'm glad to see that the public finally winning some of this and moving beyond what the governor wants the public to do.
He claims he still has the power, though, if need be in the future.
This is why he needs to come to the legislature. I'd love to have all my Democratic colleagues and my Republican colleagues on record about what the governor's executive powers are going to be.
Well, and it's not just that. It's the hearings getting all of the science and data,
yep,
right? And
absolutely.
having, a scientist present one side and another scientist presents another side. We have not had that.
There's still so much all over the place on this. And I think, again, the public, you're out and about. Everybody's out and about. They see what's going on. They go to other states and see what happens, And the fact that we've been so restricted in Illinois has not helped the people of Illinois. It has not helped the economy in Illinois. And that's really, we got to get back to normal. We absolutely have to get back to normal. So I'm glad today is Maskless Monday. Hopefully we can move forward and get beyond this and start getting back to, where we were before we were 2 years ago today.
State Representative Tim Butler here with us on the WMAY morning news feed. And finally, of course, you guys are coming back Tuesday. More legislative action. April 8th, the end of session. How we doing on the budget and other priorities at the State House?
This week's the deadline for House legislation to get out of the House. So it'll be a busy week for us. Not a great update on the budget. The Democrats don't engage us very much. I hear rumors about the fact that there's a budget being put together and that we're going to hit the April 8th deadline. But look, I think the fact of the matter is the governor's priorities are off. He's talking about using all this extra money coming in from the feds, and I think really not looking to the future on where we could be once all this federal money's gone. And I worry about the continued extra spending that the governor wants to do. $42 to $43 billion when just a few years ago we had a $35 billion budget.
Well, and we've got fewer people in the state of Illinois.
We've got fewer people in the state of Illinois, but we can't rely on putting our budget around this federal money that's coming in. Or we need to be conservative in how we view this, and I don't think the governor's looking at that. And unfortunately, they don't talk to us a whole heck of a lot on the budget, which they should be, because I think we have a lot of good ideas on how we should manage the situation with the budget.
State Representative Tim Butler, always appreciate you taking time with us, and we'll talk again in the near future.
Welcome.
All right?
Thanks, Bishop.
It is the WMAY morning news feed, and now it is 7:52 in your forecast today. We're looking at a high of 55 with a low down to 34.